Good morning, Los Angeles, and welcome to this first day of the virtual fact-finding mission LA 2028 on sports and infrastructure. It's 8 o'clock in the morning here in California, and we're very happy to have you here. The Olympic Summer Games and Paralympics are coming back to Los Angeles in 2028 for the third time. And during this week, our goal is to connect the Netherlands and Los Angeles and work towards sharing expertise and building new partnerships. And of course, economic diplomacy and doing business is done best when you can look each other in the eyes and give each other a firm handshake. But during this week, we'll try to bring you to Los Angeles from the comfort of your own home as much as possible. You all have a very busy week ahead. And every day we'll start the day with this show, Good Morning Los Angeles, to take a look at the themes and topics of the day. And if you want to share about this mission on social media, please do use the hashtag NLUSA, hashtag Digitale Missie, or tag us, the Consulate General, at NLInSF. If you have any questions, please leave them in the chat box below your viewer. But I would like to start with introducing the Consul General of the Netherlands, Mr. Gerbert Kunst. Good morning, Gerbert.
Good morning, Sietse.
So for those who know Los Angeles a bit, they see that the view behind us is not Los Angeles. What happened?
Yeah, that's right. Of course, we should have been in Los Angeles. We're planning to broadcast from the Galaxy Stadium, actually. But then we felt it wasn't sort of a good thing to do. It wouldn't be responsible for the situation now in California, to be honest, because the number of COVID cases is rising again. And the governor is pausing the reopening. And it's a serious situation. And my thoughts are with everyone affected with COVID, to be honest. It's very serious, and I think we need to keep our social distance, just like we try to do here at the office at the same time. And then again, Sietse, it is a virtual fact-finding mission. So we can do it anywhere, and we do it now here, right, at the consulate in San Francisco.
So a virtual fact-finding mission, what can participants expect?
Yeah, I can expect a lot. I would first like to thank our partners. We're working together with FMA, the Hub in Los Angeles, the Embassy in Washington, the colleagues from the Ministry of Infrastructure and Water and Foreign Affairs in the Netherlands. And I think the program is a bit like about what should we sort of learn from Los Angeles, and at the same time, how can we showcase the best innovations out of the Netherlands, like smart stadiums. We have the Arena Stadium now, a sort of test bed for COVID situations for the crowds. But at the same time, we have all kind of circular companies who are very good in sort of presenting a full circular event. And you know, Los Angeles is pushing for circular games.
Olympic Games are often seen as a money pit. They build all these new stadiums, all this new infrastructure, and then after a couple of years, they're not used anymore. They're useless. So how does LA look at this?
Yeah, well, I think for us, this is the great thing. They want to radical reuse. Meaning that I really want to sort of use the current stadiums in light of the 2028 Games. And even the Colosseum, you might remember, in the 1932 and the 1984 Games already used the stadium.
I wasn't around then yet.
1984 I was.
You might remember.
But I think this concept of reusing what's there, but then of course renovating and bringing it up to the state of art, I think that's the interesting part for the Netherlands, because we can be helpful there. We have innovations, we have all kind of test beds, and we would love to be helpful there.
Thank you, Gerbert. So LA won the Olympic Games of 2028 after being tied with Paris for the Olympics of 2024. And it was an historic decision to award two games at the same time. And Los Angeles presented itself with the slogan, "Follow the Sun." Let's look at a video.
There's so many different cultures represented here. So many different ethnicities represented here. LA can be anything you want it to be.
Hold on to me, don't let me go. Who cares what they see? Who cares what they know? Your first name is free, last name is dumb, but you still believe in where we're from. Man's right flower, it's in every living thing. Mind, use your power, spirit, use your wings.
It's an opportunity to learn, no matter where you look.
We are from heat, the electric one. Just to shock you, see. He left us the sun. Sun and yes, man, are made of the same things.
If you think about it, to have the Olympics here and to have so many different cultures represented would be a beautiful story to tell.
Well, a very powerful video of the Games 2028. And now I'd like to welcome Deputy Mayor for International Relations of Los Angeles, Nina Hetchikan. And Nina, last time when we met was in Los Angeles, I think January, when we opened the Netherlands Business Support Office, and you were opening together with State Secretary Mona Keizer this wonderful business support office. Thank you for joining us this morning. Good morning.
Good morning. It's my pleasure to be here. Thank you for bringing Los Angeles and the Netherlands virtually together. And thanks for your dedication to keep getting us knowing each other even during these difficult times when we can't be together physically.
No, indeed. And well, we've tried to do the best via Zoom meetings and like this kind of sort of encounters. Nina, it is quite a unique situation for Los Angeles, I think, to know already 8 years in advance that your city will be hosting the Olympics. So what did you do to win this bid?
Well, we are really lucky to have these years to strategize and plan and build momentum, not only to host the games, the Olympic and Paralympic Games, the Paralympic Games for the first time, but also really important to us to create lasting economic development and social legacy for the people who call LA home. The short answer to why is because we have an amazing visionary mayor who recruited a stellar talent in Casey Wasserman, and I would never bet against the two of them on anything. And they presented a sustainable, low-risk vision for hosting that could not be beat. But I think we were awarded the bid for many of the same reasons that make LA attractive destination for international businesses and students and travelers. We are a global city with really tremendous connectivity. We have the third, this is all pre-COVID, of course, third busiest airport in the world, the largest port in the Western Hemisphere, and we're investing $140 billion over the next couple of decades through a bond called Measure M to extend and improve mass transit in Los Angeles. We're one of the most diverse and we like to think welcoming cities in the world, with over 200 languages spoken in our school, the third largest consular corps with over 100 countries represented, and some of the largest diaspora communities anywhere. And even as the United States on the federal level has turned inward over the last few years, Mayor Garcetti has never stopped talking about how important our international partners are to us. And we're also known for our creativity and innovation. The world knows Hollywood, of course, and that we're the entertainment capital, but we're also home to the sixth largest startup ecosystem in the world and the largest advanced manufacturing hub in the country. Another reason I would say, because as you mentioned earlier, this is the third time we'll be hosting the Olympic Games, is that we have a track record for bringing that innovation to the games themselves. The mayor said that each time LA has hosted the games, we've been a games changer, and we have the potential, I think, to do that again in 2028. We're committed to a sustainable model in everything that we do, and that includes the games. And we have 11 professional sports teams and a very large network of public and private universities, which gives us a very robust existing sports infrastructure. And that positions us well to hold the most sustainable games ever, as we aren't, as you mentioned, we're not going to be building any permanent new venues. But when the world comes to LA for the games, we want to really showcase the city of the future. one that delivers for its people, no matter their race, their gender, their income, their religion, ethnicity, who they love, or anything else. And we want to welcome the Netherlands to be on that global stage with us and show what you have to offer in sustainability and the circular economy, water management, lighting design, and present that to the world when we're all on the world stage in 2028.
Well, thank you. And of course, we're up to do that, of course. And I fully agree how you sort of described the city of angels. And but then again, of course, it's still 8 years to go. And I was wondering how the city is gearing up in a way. And you mentioned connectivity. Sometimes I feel, well, maybe you can improve a bit there. But I'm not sure how you feel about this sort of 8-year kind of time lap to go to the games.
The way time is passing these days, 2028 will feel like it's here next week, as far as I'm concerned. So the way it works here with our bid is that the city is sort of setting the stage, and then Casey Wasserman and LA 2028 are producing the show. We recognize that the games can be a catalyst for social and economic progress, and so we're using the games to accelerate bold action now and over the next 8 years. And as I mentioned earlier, that it's the legacy of the games that we're most focused on. But for example, the mayor has announced 28 by 28, which is 28 metro and transportation projects that we want to accelerate and complete by the Summer Olympics, including, for the first time, connecting our airport to public transit. Many of the upgrades of existing venues are underway or recently completed, all separate from the games planning. So the Rams Stadium in Inglewood, the SoFi Stadium, is 97% complete. And incidentally, we as a region made a bid to host the FIFA World Cup, and were officially selected as one of the 14 cities for 2026. So SoFi Stadium and the Rose Bowl would be potential sites for the World Cup. And the Memorial Coliseum, which you mentioned earlier, opened in 1923, which will become the first venue to host 3 Olympic Games. Recently underwent about $300 million in privately funded renovations and will host the major events. And in the meantime, the University of Southern California's football team. It's worth noting that unlike other places in California and the world, the construction never stopped at LA, and we've actually had a chance to speed up the timeline of some major modernization projects, including a big overhaul at our airport and the expansion of one of our metro lines going through Beverly Hills because of the reduced traffic that we are seeing during these COVID times. And we've also been working on implementing a major new youth sports program with advanced funding that we got when we switched our bid from 24 to 28 from the IOC and LA 2028. It's going to be the first of its kind, and starting as soon as COVID lets us, it will make sure that every child in Los Angeles, no matter their family's income or where they live in LA, will have access to sports and fitness opportunities. Finally, I'll say that we're getting inspiration from other cities that have recently hosted the games, like London. Our city council voted recently to modernize our procurement system to expand opportunities for business, including local business. And it's called Compete for LA, and it was inspired by the success of the Compete for program created for the 2012 London Olympics.
Well, thank you so much, Nina. It's really much appreciated that you give us the opportunity, the Netherlands, to present and to showcase what we could add to your plans. You seem to be pretty well prepared, but still you have 8 years to go. So I would really like to thank you for today's introduction of your sort of city and about the plans. And looking forward to see you soon, but then in real life, of course. Thank you for your help today. So now I'd like to turn to the athletes. Of course, the Games is all about sports and athletes. And you might know our famous Dorian van Rijsselberghe. He's a 2-time gold winner. He won the medals in London and in Rio. And, well, let's take a look.
Ik ben begonnen met surfen toen ik 7 was. Toen had ik een droom.
Blik in zijn ogen. Nu kun je het vertellen. Wat is je geheim?
Je moet gewoon je droom achterna gaan. Ja, super mooi. Het is gewoon een bekroning op alle mooie jaren.
What a great video, Dorian. Follow your dream. Well, you can say that. Welcome to our morning show. You live in Laguna Beach near Los Angeles. How's life been for you the last weeks, month in this COVID time?
Well, it's been a big change for me as a professional athlete. I was at the World Championships in late February in Australia, and when I came back, there was 2 major changes. One was that I decided to retire, and the other one was COVID. So all of a sudden, my own decision of not competing anymore and wanting to spend and I'm kind of stuck, but no, I love it. It's very nice to be home for me, spending time with my 2 wonderful kids and the wife.
So what do you think about the Olympics coming to Los Angeles? And maybe share a bit, because your retirement, I mean, this is just like for you stopping professional sports, or I mean, do you have any plans for maybe become a, I don't know, a mentor for new Olympic athletes?
Well, let's first start with the retirement. I'm quitting being a professional athlete, but that doesn't mean that I won't be involved anymore with sports or helping other athletes out in their way of getting to their goals, their lifetime achievements. The other point, having the Olympics in Los Angeles in 2028, it excites me. I think Los Angeles is a wonderful place to host the games. We used to do a lot of training out of Long Beach, and it's fabulous. I mean, sailing inside the big harbor with next to the oil rigs is quite spectacular, and there's great wind and breeze. So no, I think it's wonderful.
So, I mean, you know the U.S. sports culture, of course, because you're in the heart in Los Angeles, in the middle. How do you feel it's different from the Netherlands?
Well, I think in the Netherlands, you start competing and you start sports as a hobby. You look at something and you're like, okay, I like that, and it's a passion. And I think over here, that quickly turns into a very competitively driven super passion, maybe. So with all the schools and all the scholarships, it gets an extra boost.
So, you know, this is a fact-finding mission, and we already discussed Team NL, meaning it's sports associations, it's of course the athletes, but as well the businesses who maybe can showcase innovations. What kind of advice could you give maybe the business looking forward to maybe get some opportunities here in Los Angeles?
Well, it's amazing. I think in America in general is a country of opportunities. People from all over the world come over here because it's such a driven culture to achieve what you have to set out to do. And there's plenty of opportunities to make it happen. So for Dutch companies coming over here, I think, there's a spot for them along all the other people that are here, as long as you find the people that want to buy or use your product, you'll be able to achieve it.
All right. So last question, where will you be in 2028, Dorian?
Well, I hope to be either involved with the Dutch Olympic team or maybe even with the American Olympic team. I don't know yet. But I hope to visit Los Angeles when the Olympics will be here.
Great. Looking forward to seeing you then and there. Thank you so much, Dorian, for joining us this morning. And now I'd like to turn to the business ties, actually, and to ask Stephen Chung to join us. He's the CEO, the president of World Trade Center Los Angeles, and recently became the Chief Operations Officer of the Los Angeles County Economic Development Corporation. Stephen, good morning.
Good morning, Consul General. Great to see you.
Yeah, great to see you again. We met as well in January. I remember a wonderful discussion on the business opportunities for the Netherlands in Los Angeles. You were then very optimistic at that time. So when the Olympics are coming to Los Angeles, where do you see the opportunities for Dutch business?
Well, I think to the ambassador's point earlier, there's a lot of infrastructure development projects happening in Los Angeles right now. And to what you were saying earlier as well, we don't have to build a lot of new infrastructure and stadiums. However, in order for us to be able to process millions of visitors coming to Los Angeles in a matter of a few weeks, we have to basically continue to develop other types of infrastructure, including sustainable practices and also, for example, security, cybersecurity, and other types of technologies. So there are going to be a lot of opportunities for international companies and Dutch companies to come over here and secure those contracts to provide those different types of technological advancement that we'll need. If you look previously, the last time the United States was hosting the Olympic Games, it was in Salt Lake City. And at that point, we didn't know anything about Twitter or Facebook communication, which is a completely different style. So in 8 years, we anticipate you're going to have a lot of new technologies that we've never seen before. So we have to be nimble. We have to basically stay ready. And Los Angeles is great, knowing that we're not the best in everything, but that's why we seek international support and partnership to make sure that we become the best in preparation for the 2028 Games.
Well, that's great, of course. And we learned from the ambassador, Nina Chicken, as well, that Los Angeles is a games changer. So we're looking forward to the 2028 Games. And I think when you discuss a bit the business opportunities, what should foreign companies, what should Dutch companies keep in mind when doing business in Los Angeles?
Well, I think a lot of international companies and Dutch companies in particular, sometimes when they think of Los Angeles, they think of a city. But what they don't realize is Los Angeles is so much more than that. This general area of the greater Los Angeles region has 18.7 million residents, and our GDP is well over $1 trillion. So really, we're a mini country in itself. So the size is enormous. At the same time, the competition is great. People from around the world, and again, to the ambassador's point earlier, with all the different consulates here, with over 100 countries represented here, there's a reason for that. It's because their diaspora, their businesses, and their residents are already here in Los Angeles competing for those contracts. So for Dutch companies coming over here, I recommend that they do their analysis and their homework, their market entry studies beforehand, so that when they're here, they're ready to go. Another thing about Los Angeles is because of the vast size and the competition that's here, a lot of different companies coming over here, sometimes they feel a bit overwhelmed, but there are a lot of great supportive organizations and services, including the Los Angeles County Economic Development Corporation and the World Trade Center Los Angeles, that stand ready to support and help. We work very closely with Nina's office, with the mayor's office, to support these companies that are coming in. So we have a very welcoming environment. So I want to make sure that the Dutch companies know that there's a vast supportive network network that's waiting for them to be here, and we're looking forward to supporting and helping them enter this market.
Wonderful. That's really very welcoming. And of course, we opened our Netherlands Business Support Office in close contact with you. So I have just a final question for you, Stephen. COVID-19, of course, it has a major impact on California, on Los Angeles. We know that. So how are things right now, and sort of what kind of consequences do you see for 2028, or is it too far away to say that now?
It's a bit far away. We're still very hopeful. Obviously, COVID-19 has impacted the United States more severely than any other country in the world. And in Los Angeles, because of the size of Los Angeles, complexity of Los Angeles, our infection rate is also very high. And this has actually impacted our economy as well, with populations and a workforce of about 4 million people. We've already seen over 1.2, 1.3 million unemployment claims in the Los Angeles region over the last few weeks and months. And so this is going to have an impact on our economy and our ability to collect taxes, for example, because we have less transactions going through and business transactions going through. So in the long run, it's going to impact our ability to utilize those taxes to invest in other projects as well. So hopefully that will start picking back up as we're looking into the reimagination, reinvention, and recovery of the Los Angeles economy. The good thing is this, we still have 8 years, so we think we still have enough time. And unlike a lot of the other previous Olympic Games where they have to spend a lot of their resources building the infrastructure, and they usually only have about 6 years to do this, we don't have to basically invest in all those infrastructure development projects. At the same time, we have 8 years to prepare for it. So I think we have ample time to be flexible. What we're hoping to do is basically to recover from this really devastating pandemic. And we're looking in the future, specifically, as I was mentioning, to the reinvention and reimagination of the Los Angeles economy so that we're better ready, better prepared, and be ready for the 2028 Olympic Games.
Well, thank you very much, Stephen, and looking forward to seeing you soon again in Los Angeles. So, well, back to you, Sietse.
Thank you, Gerbert. Before I walk you all through the program of the day, I have a couple of announcements for the participants. The online platform, please make use of this platform that we created specifically for this mission. It allows you to connect and interact with the other participants, and you stay tuned on mission updates. There's also very useful an agenda of the whole week, so you know what time, what session is, and where you can follow the session. That's also really important with all the Zoom links and YouTube links that are going around. The great thing about this platform is also that it stays open after this mission, so you can continue to contact your new contacts that you met during this week. And then let's go through the program of today. So we started with Good Morning Los Angeles, and that will be followed with the webinar on business opportunities Los Angeles 2028. That will also be here from the studio and through the live stream. Then there will be a short break, and after that the participants continue in two more private Zoom sessions. One is a fireside chat on US and Netherlands sports landscape, and after that on VR and sports. That's it for now. Thank you all so much for joining, and enjoy your first day, and see you tomorrow. Bye.